Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of What Douglas Dug, my monthly show to highlight some of the neat shared items I've found in my travels around the internet. Well, first and foremost in the news today is actually something on the Gardener's Notebook website, and that is our giveaway of a Troy-built TBC57 lithium-ion cultivator. You can actually see my video review of this cultivator on the website. This is all done in coordination with my membership in Troy-Built's Saturday 6. They love us to review their products and then give away some of their products each year. So please scroll down on the blog post. You'll find a nice little widget there for you to enter your entries into the contest. You can enter in up to 3 ways: leaving a comment, adding us on Twitter, or liking us on Facebook. Please check it out. I'd love to give one of these away to a lucky viewer, reader, or listener of the podcast. First up in other shared items is this lovely use of what looks to be the hull of an old rowboat, perhaps a fishing boat, to frame a doorway in a house. This is truly a creative idea and a creative reuse of something that might otherwise just have rotted away. It's very possible this doorway was built in situ as just a faux representation of a boat, but it does appear to be the actual skeleton and hull of an old rowboat. What a great idea. If you live in a maritime area at all, near the ocean or near water, this would be an excellent idea to add to your home, or you could also use this as a garden gate, a gate into your garden from the outside. I think it would give a lovely touch to your garden, certainly be a showpiece that people would talk about. It's not something I've ever seen before. And more in the way of garden structures, I happened across this lovely growing teepee. I could imagine setting up this basic structure in my garden and then replanting it each and every year depending on my desires. It looks like the lower areas of the teepee are planted with pots which are hanging from cross straps around the teepee, but then the top looks to be 1 or 2 vines that are going down from the top of the teepee as far as they will go. Again, a great way to bring some imagination into your garden, and you could replant the same basic structure year after year if you live in a less temperate area than I do here in Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, I could probably grow this year-round with no problems at all. Imagine your children or your friends' children coming over to visit and being able to camp out, if you will, underneath this living green teepee. I think it'd be an excellent idea. Now, guerrilla gardening has been in the news for quite a while now, and this is the act of taking disused or unused pieces of property and trying to get something beautiful growing there. This can take the form of tossing seed bombs, quote unquote, over fences into barren lots in hopes to grow flowers or vegetables or other things in the lot. These are basically just balls of clay wrapped up and mixed up with seeds that, when tossed over the fence, break apart, and hopefully when the rains come they get enough water to actually grow the plant you wish. It seems like in San Francisco, though, they've taken things to an entirely different level. It looks like they're actually grafting fruit-bearing branches onto San Francisco street trees. Now, these might be ornamental trees like ornamental pears or crepe myrtles or other things they don't really call out very clearly in the article, but they're grafting in scions of apples and pears and nuts and other fruiting plants into these trees in a hope to actually grow food on some of these ornamental trees around the city. They're being very close-lipped about exactly what they're doing. They don't want the city removing the grass, but I certainly think this is a step up in the guerrilla gardening realm for sure, taking the time and energy to actually graft food-bearing limbs onto non-food-bearing trees. Maybe it'll catch on. Certainly would be a pleasure to be walking down a city street, reach up and grab a nice juicy apple off a tree that might not otherwise produce one. Sometimes when we're planning walls and building around our garden, we leave out a very important aspect: seating. In this example from Pinterest, you'll see that this homeowner and this designer have made it a functional part of the wall they were building in. They obviously needed a retaining wall for this bed, but they thought about it long and hard and actually put some horizontal pavers into the wall mounted as garden seating. What a great idea, and something that's often ignored. We can build in seating to our hardscape to give our friends and family places around the garden to sit, to contemplate, to enjoy the garden, and it takes very little extra effort to make it happen. This log arch from the Malvern Garden Show in the UK definitely caught my eye when I first saw it. The lovely aspects of the cut ends of the logs peeking out towards the viewer as they enter the gate is very, very striking. And I love the way that logs of all sizes and shapes can fit in easily into the design. I made a bit of a joke when I posted this on Pinterest that you might be a little inclined to burn up some of this wood on a cold winter night if you really needed it. But then I got to thinking that, well, perhaps this is a part of your firewood storage each year, and that's what it would be designed for. You'd actually build the gate out of the firewood as you collect it and chop it and dry it, and then throughout the winter you start to use up the wood from the outside in, giving you a place to start all over again in the coming year. Could be a great functional and beautiful idea all in one. Garden salvage and art salvage is always one of my favorite items, and when I came across this, it was almost like I was being transported back to my childhood in farmland, Ohio. I quickly recognized these wheels as the steel wheels from old tractors back in the 20s and 30s, and then I see a couple other farm implements scattered amongst it. Really doesn't take a whole lot. If you have someone in your family who can weld even basically, you can take some of these basic metal items and combine them into something that's very beautiful and attractive, giving them a new life. I remember in my farmland history, we'd drive by farm after farm that simply had old equipment rusting away in the grass around their properties. Imagine if you were able to take some of this equipment yourself, or perhaps sell it to someone who can make better use of it and turn it into something that's truly beautiful for your garden. I know there are city people and near city people who would love to have something like this in their garden, but they have no idea how to go about it. Maybe it's another aspect for a business, for your family business or a family farm. Could be an interesting way to make a little extra money using something you might otherwise throw away. Here's another great take on using non-traditional items to edge your garden beds. In this case, they've actually made an elevated bed using these terracotta pipes. Now these were especially interesting, I saw, because they're looks like hexagonal, or perhaps, I'm not sure what you would call the shape, but 10-sided shape, so they fit together nicely. It also, because they're open in the middle, gives you extra places to plant within the pipes themselves. Reading the article this picture came from, the owners also described that they've left a couple of them open for slug and snail traps. They put a little dish of beer down inside, cover it over, and then simply collect the dead slugs and snails to add to their compost bin later. It's a great multi-function, multi-purpose way of using something non-traditional as a way of building in your garden. Always be on the lookout for these types of things in your garden center, in your building center, in your construction centers around your town. They obviously have a unique purpose that they were originally designed for, but many things can be easily repurposed to make something very, very functional like this. And finally, back on A Gardener's Notebook, I wanted to show off our free garden wallpapers for October 2012. These are some lovely water lily pictures I took as we were showing friends around Ventura County to our west. I happened upon a koi pond that had these lovely water lilies growing, and I think I got some great shots. You'll see pictures here pre-sized for your computer screen, your iPad or other tablet. I've even included an iPhone 5-sized smartphone wallpaper. It's slightly different format than the iPhone 4 and earlier iPhones, so I made a quick change and included that one as well. Each month I stick these on my own smartphone and on my own computer to enjoy throughout the month. I hope you enjoy them too. Please let me know if you do. I'd love to hear feedback from you. I'd love to hear what's going on in your garden. You can always visit the website at douglasewelch.com/AGN for A Gardener's Notebook. Again, that's douglasewelch.com/AGN. Don't forget to enter our giveaway for the Troy-Bilt cultivator. I'd really love to give it to someone who could really make use of it. I found it to be very useful here in my own garden. I have the wired cultivator from Troy-Bilt before that I've used here, and for my size of garden, this is a nearly perfect type of implement here. I don't need a big gas-guzzling rototiller. There might be some areas where I could really use them, but I can always rent one for that. This, though, sits at hand all the time, ready to turn over a garden bed or an area very, very quickly. Until next time, I'm Douglas E. Welch. This has been What Douglas Dug from A Gardener's Notebook. Until next time, keep digging.
Love is the one. Clouds in the sky.